beautiful souls. This is Quinn Curtis, and you are listening to Joyful Living. And man, is it great to be here with you today. And please know of the great honor and privilege that I feel it is to have you listening to the show, and my deep desire to serve you with this time that you are lending in this conversation today, and just being a part of this topic of how can we bring more joy into our everyday lives? How can we live more joyfully? And so I wanted to share a few thoughts that have been on my minds of some really near and dear to me concepts, and see if they can support with lightening your load and your path, and helping to bring more of those dreams to life. And so a few of the principles that I wanted to share, we'll just kind of dive in and just get going, but is really the concept of understanding joyful living. And I know I've mentioned this on previous episodes, but I want to just bring this home again and really allow it to sink in, because in my definition and experience, I believe that joyful living is defined by two core things. The first is meaningful connection. So a lot of the conversations that we have here on this show really support that, and that they are all about how can we have stronger relationships with people? How can we be a safe space? Like we mentioned in a couple episodes ago in that free download, that if you haven't snagged it, we'll make sure it's in the show notes so that you can snag it there. But just really seeing, how you can deepen your own sense of wholeness and aliveness and joy, so that you can have relationships that are more alive and whole and joy. And that is a major topic of discussion here. And the second really important piece of joyful living is that of soulful expression. And soulful expression is really where we get more into a lot of the business conversations that happen here. And I just wanted to get to the heart of this a little bit more today. So whether or not you have a business is kind of irregard, or doesn't matter with this conversation, but I just want you to feel into soulful expression in your world. This is really leaning on the belief that everybody was born with their own song to sing, their own color to add to this great global palette, right? Their own part to play in this grand symphony of humanity and divinity brought together in our experience of now. And so feeling into what is your song to sing, and maybe even taking a moment, just putting a hand on your heart, just feeling into, just even if you don't know exactly what it is, just put a hand on your heart and just feel in deeper. Can you feel that it's real though? Can you feel that there is something special that you and you alone came to bring to this earth, this planet? Came to bring with your one beautiful life here right now. Just breathe it in. And you might even start to get a sense that you being you is a major part of that song. Right? Just the way that you see things in the world, or the way that your heart beats, the rhythm. It matters. It matters so much. And it's unique to each of us. And so I remember, this happens way too often on this podcast, that I remember a really epic quote, and I don't have it ready to tell you exactly who said it. Maybe I can Google it super fast while we're talking. I bet I can. Give me 2 seconds. There we go. Okay, so this was Oliver Wendell Holmes. Oh, so good. Okay. So he said, actually, it looks like a couple of people said similar things, but this is the one I was thinking of them. Many people die with their music still in them. Too often, it is because they're always getting ready to live. Before they know it, time runs out. And I repeat that again and just let this sink in. Many people die with their music still in them. Too often, it is because they are always getting ready to live. Before they know it, time runs out. Oh, can I hear an amen? I'm sure you guys have witnessed this in your own lives and in your own ways. And it's a real thing. It's a real thing. I mean, how many people are living and waiting for retirement so that they can finally see the world and have more time with their loved ones, only to get there and find their health, their finances, their life situations changed to the degree that they can't have that they wanted. Right. And even, even if we were to just take this a step back and say, getting ready to live is the greatest distraction that we have from actual real life, everyday living. And so in this conversation, also the distraction from joy, because that's where joy is found. It's found in our everyday living and the aliveness that is within every single day and every moment. Aliveness and joy are synonymous. They're the same. So what does this have to do with soulful expression? It just means that we're allowing that music to be sung. Whatever we were born to bring to the world, which is us in our aliveness, us in our joy, which can lead to writing that book, painting that masterpiece, playing with your children or your grandchildren and just having a blast with the people in your life, creating a beautiful everyday life that you are excited to wake up to, creating a body and health that you feel good in your own skin, right? All of these can be parts of our song that we have to sing. And for some of you who have felt really drawn to creating a business as a major part of this song that you want to sing, I would love to take you into, and even if you haven't thought of a business, this conversation will still apply, but I'm going to really connect the dots for if you are building a business. Because one of the most potent and powerful supports that I have found in really bringing those heart and soul dreams in with business to life is soulful strategic branding. And I was recognizing that this is a conversation that I really haven't had very much here on the podcast, but this is my work. This is the, what I'm doing behind the scenes all the time, everywhere kind of work that's happening. And so I wanted to just really shed some light on why branding, right? You guys have, if you've listened to this show long enough, then you know I'm so passionate about us really being anchored to truth. And so one of the pieces that I love about soul branding is this process of rewriting the stories of who we are and who we've believed that we are. So a lot of times this reminds me of the Cinderella story where she believed that she was Cinderella. She let stepsisters and a stepmother come into her home and tell her that she was, deserved to be nothing less than their servant or nothing more than their servant. And they kept her busy from night until day. And she even owned the house, by the way. It was her family's home, and they came in. And then they get invited to the ball, and Cinderella has hopes. Oh my gosh, I want to go. I believe that there's a space there for me. And then she hears them and they say, oh no, you can't go. Nope. It's not for people like you. It's for people like us. Right? And how would you even have a dress? And so then she believes and she has hope. And so she makes her own dress. And then she shows the stepsisters. Obviously, I'm referring to the Disney version and not the older version, which is a little bit different on the details. Also epic, but just a little confusing if you're really, if you're wondering about the differences there. We're going to stick with the Disney kind of version since that's what most people know. But she creates the dress and she says, oh, I've overcome all the hurdles that you put in my way. I've overcome them all. No problem. And she shows them the dress. And what do? They tear it to shreds, just like the crabs in a bucket that can't stand if one crab is going to get out of there. Those crabs just tore her right down to believing that she should have no more hope, right? That her dream wasn't going to happen. And so a lot of people that are drawn to working with me in this soul branding space, they come in very much like Cinderella, in that they feel like, maybe they don't really deserve the big, beautiful dream that's in their heart. And maybe they should just keep playing small. And by the time they've made that courageous step to contact me, they've got a little bit stronger hope and they're just praying, will Quinn see it? Right? And then it's my greatest joy to look in and say, oh my gosh, no, this dream that you have, this matters. And this work you've already been doing in the world, more people need it. Let's get the word out. Let's help people see the value here. Let's amplify and magnetize your business and your branding so that you can reach and serve the people that are looking for what you have to offer. Right? And it's this gorgeous process. And so then it's so fun because I feel like I often get to play the part of the fairy godmother, where I get to say, oh, those rags? No, that's not you at all. Let's get you a dress or a brand that's in alignment with the truth of who you really are. Let's go there, right? And then we bring this to life. And everybody always has the same fear in this process that, I don't know if there really is something beautiful or something incredible worth saving here or worth showing. Even no matter what level of success they've reached in their business already. And I find with every single one of them, those kinds of beliefs or those kinds of fears or staying in a brand or in a story about who they are or how they're being portrayed, it affects them being able to up-level their business and take it to the next level and serve more people. And so I love how this work works, at least in my experience in the world. We have to know two crucial things, maybe three, we could say. You have to know these in your heart and soul and not just in your brain, but you have to know who you are, the truth of who you are. And at the core of knowing who you are is knowing that you matter. Okay, so that's piece number one. And that's a major part of this branding process, is that we really anchor in your messaging, your photography, your graphic design, your business strategy, so that it's all anchored into the truth of who you are. And then that leads us into the second point, is that you have to know, what are you here to do, right? You have to have some sense of that song in your heart. At least, even if it's a glimmer or a little tiny whisper, have some sense in that. And then through this branding process, this is a major process of strengthening your trust and your faith in that heart and soul dream, so that we can really pour on a lot of nourishment and protect it from the elements so that it can grow really strong and true and be able to serve the people it's meant to serve. And then the third piece is really knowing whose you are. And this really relates to your connection with the divine and whatever flavor that might look like to you. Just some, a connection that there is divine support out there for you, that your dreams are not in your heart by accident. And they're not in your heart because you're selfish and you just want more, or whatever crazy reasons our ego gives us to ignore them. but really that they matter. They're part of a bigger plan for your life, and that they're a part of your path in following and taking the next steps and creating them. And so when you know those three things, not just in your head, but in every cell of your body to some degree, it changes you and it changes your business, and it magnetizes absolutely everything, so that the people who are looking and praying for what you have can find you so much easier. So I was actually just coaching my premium group about this very concept today, and just talking to them about how a lot of marketing strategies out there are all about, it's a numbers game. So if you want to connect with 100 people, you've got to first create a list of 100,000 people, and then you can drill that down and you can find those people. And I would argue that, yes, that is absolutely the truth if you are doing it in a very, what's the nice way to say that? Just a very, the old way, the force, hustle, make it happen kind of a way. But if you're doing it in the soulful way, it's all about magnetism and showing up to serve in that magnetism. So this is where you feel really inspired to put up a Facebook Live video, and you check in really quick before, and you feel in your heart, okay, this is right, this is vital, I'm going to show up and serve whoever is watching this or whoever might watch it with what's in my heart today. And you allow it to just flow, and then you trust that because you felt inspired to do that, that's going to connect you with the next people or the next steps that are a part of your business, right? Or you feel inspired to send out an email or to go to an event, and you show up in full trust that this is the next part of your business. This is the right next step, and you move forward in that direction. So when we do our businesses that way, I feel like it's a lot less of a numbers game, and it's a lot more of just staying in alignment and staying true to that voice in our heart that's guiding us, and that is very clear on our next steps, and moving forward with that in peace and confidence and faith and in trust. And so with this soul branding process, one of the cool things about it is that it allows you to drop down some anchors. So I find, I love supporting my clients, and especially in my premium program, Inflow and On Fire, I love supporting them with breakthrough energy work and some really yummy things that we do with that, of helping them break through the blocks that are keeping them playing small, keeping them hiding their song and their light from the world, and keeping them from really enjoying and having passion and fun in their businesses again. And so we partner that with brand and business strategy. And so what I find is that we could be coaching somebody all day long and helping them get rid of their blocks, but without dropping down the anchor of, let's create a brand mood board. Let's create a logo. Let's create your website. Let's get some brand photography done, right? Without some of those big pieces, it's a lot easier for them to drift right back into the same old patterns of playing small and hiding their light and feeling like they're not worthy of what their heart and soul is telling them to move forward towards. And so it's been just the most spectacular experiences. I've been running this Inflow on Fire program for the past 8.5, 9 months at this point, and just seeing the magic transformations that are happening in there because of this partnering. And so here again, if you were to just go and create a logo, or just go and force and make a website and do it off of just the things that you liked, instead of coming from a very soulful place of, how do we represent your heart and soul and your song in your brand and in your messaging and your visual identity with your graphic design and your photography and those pieces, right? Which then makes your brand so much more magnetic. If we were to just do the branding pieces, though, without taking any notice of all those soulful pieces, then it would still be really hard for your business to really move forward and up level and reach the people it's meant to reach. So I feel like there's this beautiful partnership between inner work and outer work in our lives and our businesses that really help to create this fantastic synergy and momentum that can really unleash the joy and the magnetism, the vibrancy in our businesses and in our lives like nothing I've ever seen before. So a few of the pieces that I've seen come from this is just a lot of people that are wondering if this work is for them. They're feeling really stuck and like they're on a business plateau. Like that's kind of like your weight plateau, right? Where you're like, oh, these last 20 pounds, I just can't seem to get rid of them, right? So this is the business plateau where you're like, oh, I'm trying everything. I tried the new Facebook strategy. I tried to implement webinars. I tried to contact my list. I'm trying to do all these things and nothing seems to be working. It's also people that are just feeling so burnt out, right? They're feeling like, I have just exhausted my options. I've hustled, I've made it happen, but I can't keep growing my business this way. It's just not sustainable. And so how do I move forward, right? It's also for people who feel like they're just spending a ton of time in their business, but they're not seeing the results they're wanting. And so this can feel a lot like spinning your wheels, right? Spinning your wheels and just not really getting anywhere. Also, people can feel like they are just not able to raise their prices or charge what their products and services are really worth. And even that they feel like they're having to chase and convince people about the value of what they have to offer. And it also can definitely be reflected in not getting the opportunities that they're hoping for. So maybe they're wanting to speak more or have more of a voice or get connect with really cool high vibe people and have a higher vibe tribe that's connecting with them. This soul branding process can just make it so every one of these pain points is able to be resolved. And instead of getting stuck, you find your business taking a quantum leap forward, right? And where did that plateau go? You're way beyond it now, right? You've crossed that chasm and things are growing really beautifully. It also makes it so you're very clear and focused because you are absolutely seeing exactly what to do to create the results that you want, and your efforts are in alignment and they are, magnetized and empowered because of this work. And so they're just that much more effective. It also makes it so that you can really up level and step into that higher level of value that you're wanting to offer and bring the world, whether that means raising your prices or just offering cooler experiences with you or having more of an influence and a voice. It can majorly help with that. And so, I just wanted to share these possibilities with you. If anything, at its very least, to just help you feel my heart in this work and to help you understand kind of what's the engine behind this joyful living practice and work that we're all about here on the podcast, so that you really see a little bit what's more behind the curtain. What's fueling and empowering this. It's a work of helping people to remember and reclaim the truth of who they really are, to honor that brilliance and genius, and also have fun with the humanity and messy and that part of the equation as well. It's just as important. And just wanted to share this with you so that hopefully you'll just take a step deeper and really feel into that song in your heart and just see, what are the next steps there? Maybe is it just journaling it out for a little bit and saying, what is this in my heart? What do I feel like I was born to sing? How can I bring this more into my everyday life? What steps do I need to take to make that happen? And then I certainly would want, if any of you feel resonant or drawn to do this soul branding work with me, I wanted to be sure and let you know that the door is open. It honestly hasn't been necessarily because my systems have gotten so full. I haven't had to market anything because my referrals are just so high. And so we have just been working very aggressively behind the scenes in my business to be able to allow the doors to open further and allow more people in to do this work, as we feel just more people are looking for it and needing it. And so if that's you, I would invite you to definitely check out my website, quincurtis.com, and just really feel into and see some of the options there. we're going to be unleashing some really neat things over the next, probably forever, but certainly over the next few weeks. And so be sure to be a part of that Soulful Business and Branding Facebook group as well, because that's where I'll be sharing a lot of these announcements for you guys so that you can be aware of what's happening. And just, if any of that is drawing to you at all, the door is open. We'd love to serve and support you and help bring more of your dream and that heart and soul song to life, and show you the proven strategies that we use that are simple and just epically powerful. So please know that invitation is open. And above all, as you're leaving this conversation today, I hope that you walk away with a greater sense of that you matter, right? What a core message we have here on Joyful Living, that you matter and your joy matters and your dreams are sacred, right? And then you really allow yourself to sink into that and breathe that in and feel it in your belly, feel it in your toes, feel it in your heart. Right? And allow that to come more and more alive so that you'll have the courage to take the next steps to bring that love and that light, that joy that is who you are more and more into your everyday life and into the world with those that you feel called to serve. And goodness, we're cheering you on in this work and just loving you and grateful for you listening. And please don't hesitate to reach out if there's a way that we could serve you more. So just sending you lots and lots of love and cheering you on, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye. And in the end, only love will last. You've been listening to Joyful Living. If you haven't already done so, be sure to email me at quinn@joyfullivingmovement.com so I can send you our yummy Joyful Living welcome package filled with lots of awesomeness, including access to our private Joyful Living network. I read every email from my listeners and would love to hear from you. Also, be sure to leave a review on iTunes, and most importantly, have a joy-filled day.